Yeah, I think I'm gonna go inside. This is Joe, and this is Confessions of an Office Supply Junkie. Notebooks. Ooh, more notebooks. Ooh, look at the columnar pads. Ooh. Columnar grid pads. Look. 3x5 index cards already bound on a ring. I was doing this myself 10 years ago. Look. 2 1/4 inch paper rolls. Ooh. You know, the going back to school time of the year is the best time for office supply stuff. What a great time of the year. It's like Christmas. Look what I got. This is my secret stash of office supply stuff. Look at here. Looky here. I got cardstock. All kinds of different cardstock. I got stacks of typing paper. My favorite Mead typing paper. Look, I got copy paper. I got legal pads, the Staples sugarcane pulp paper. I got the Ampad engineering pads. I got grid paper. I got correction cartridges. I got Bic crystal pens. I got sticky pads. Look, I got Blackwing pencils in a whole box full. Look, vis-a-vis wet erase markers, cardstock, glue sticks, adding machine paper, rubber bands. Clearly, I have a problem. But you know, just because I have a problem with office supply stuff doesn't mean it's not actually useful in my life. In fact, I have something that I want to show you guys that was an evolutionary idea that's turned out to be pretty cool. And let me show it to you. So one of those things in my stash of office supply materials you might have noticed is this 2 1/4 inch wide adding machine paper. Now this is the kind of paper that's regular paper. It's not the thermal paper. So this is the kind of paper that takes ink in order to make a mark. Well, years ago I was walking around in a thrift store in Northwest Albuquerque, and I came across this shop project. It was some high school kids, evidently, project of the state of New Mexico cut in a piece of plywood with some lettering, and what was on here was 2 wooden brackets that held an adding machine paper roll and a little metal strip down here that you would run the paper underneath. And it was basically a notepad holder made for this kind of adding machine paper. There was also a pen holder here. Well, I thought it was a cool idea. I took it home and I used it for quite a while on my desk. But you know, it kind of takes up a little bit of room on a person's desk. Then, simultaneously with that, I had something else happen. I was using clipboards for use as document holders for typing stuff. And I decided I need to figure out a way to hold a clipboard at an angle where I could use it as a document holder. And so I found an old scrap of wood in my workshop, something like that. And I screwed 4 screws in one end, 2 taller ones and 2 shorter ones. And it enabled me to hold the clipboard at an angle like that on the table. And so I had this thing for the adding machine paper, and then I had this piece of wood with the screws in it for a clipboard holder as a document holder. One day I was noticing how much room all this stuff takes up in my office on the desk, and I decided, hey, I could combine both of those into one device. And I did so, and the thing has evolved over time, and this is what it is. This is what I call the thing. So it is a piece of oak. and the underneath side of it has a piece of adhesive craft felt on it. And a reason why I'll tell you in a minute. These two wooden uprights here and here were originally part of this, along with this metal aluminum strip underneath here. And I've added some things to this over the years. What I did was, instead of using, so basically what it was, this is the original piece of wood. I originally had the screws, 2 short ones and 2 long ones, and that serves as a document holder, okay? Clipboard holder. But when I decided to combine these two into one unit, I replaced the screws with little 1/4-inch dowels. Of course, I installed the little metal strip with the little tacks, brads. I installed a piece of wood for the adding machine holder, and it uses a simple wooden dowel. There's 2 slots in here that the dowel sits down into. Then I wanted to have a place to hold a pin. And so I took a bulldog clip and I screwed it to the bottom, to the base, and there's a clip here for a pin, and my favorite pin is the big crystal blue pins. And then I also later on needed a place to put my stylus, because I was using this with my iPad, and occasionally I use a stylus, a tablet stylus, so I have another bulldog clip screwed to the base for the stylus. And then I discovered that I was making a lot of notes, little notes and things, which is kind of what this is handy for, obviously. And I would make notes and then I'd want to save them somewhere. And what I ended up doing is I just got a little piece of cardboard like this and held together with another bulldog clip, and I put all my little notes in. These are just kind of like raw ideas for things, and maybe they might turn out to be creative things in the future, who knows. But basically the way that works is this third bulldog clip, the little cardboard holder just clips to like that. And that's how I can use this with note-taking and all that. Now, I don't have my iPad here, but I also use this thing on my lap. If this was the iPad, I found that it sits perfectly in place at the right angle for using my tablet. And so this thing also became not only a note taker, but it became the holder for my iPad. And then if I found something on the internet worth writing down, I would have something to jot it down on. And that's the reason why I have the black felt on the bottom, is to protect the screen of the iPad, because I would occasionally put it like this and carry it together in and out in different places. So this served me well for a long time, and it still does. So I discovered when using this multi-purpose thing that as you use it more, you actually discover even more uses for it. So just yesterday I was interested in reading the latest New Yorker magazine, and I was kind of sitting at the dining room table and I wanted to read a magazine while I ate. But you know, a lot of these magazines, you know, they're kind of floppy, and you know, you have to hold them in one hand, and you know, they just get kind of hard to use sometimes. So I had this out there, and when I use these legal pads of paper, I save the cardboard backings, and I discovered that if you put the cardboard backing, a used cardboard backing on the thingy holder, that you can then lay your magazine on it. And all of a sudden you have a magazine holder for sitting at the table eating and reading. It also fits into between the slots for a more upright angle. So that's yet another use I just discovered for the thing. Isn't that cool? Then the other thing that I noticed that was happening around my desk is I was starting to get a big pile of different kinds of notepads. Some of these were like the little notepads you get from hotels. Somehow they found themselves going home with us. Others were just generic kind of notepads that the different businesses use as advertising, and sticky pads. And I do a lot of little note-taking when I'm at the desk. When I do my blog, I'll oftentimes write down the file names for the pictures in my blog and stuff like that. So I'm always using little pieces of paper. And it was getting to be kind of cluttered, a pile of these miscellaneous jumbled notepads. And so last week I decided that I needed to organize this better, And inspired by the thing, I decided I needed to make something a little more streamlined using the same kind of adding machine paper for note-taking. And this is what I come up with. So this is a nice piece of cabinet grade plywood, scrap wood that I had in my workshop. I sanded it and put a coating of some kind of oil, tung oil on it, rounded the corners a little bit. It's not a great piece of woodworking, but it's adequate. So there are 2 strips of brass. These are about 1 millimeter thick that hold the paper. And I have a thin washers underneath all 4 corners that gives a little gap for the paper to move. They're actually little washers that have been cut in half, so there's a half washer on each corner, so the inside of the washer doesn't interfere with the paper. And then, so everything was made out of scrap hardware that I found laying around the house mostly. But the 2 supports for the paper roll are 1/4-20 eye bolts. I think these, I forget now how long they are, but the threaded portion is about 2.5 inches. There is a nut and washer on the top here, and on the bottom is a washer, a lock nut, and then these are threaded. These little round balls are like little cabinet knobs you can get at the hardware store. They're threaded for 1/4-20, and this acts like feet, and it elevates the holder a little bit, so it's at a good writing angle. Up on top there is a flat-headed bolt, a 1/4-20 bolt. It's kind of like an elevator bolt, and it's long enough to go through these 2 supports and the paper. There is a 1/4-20 nylock wing nut, and there is a fender washer here on this side, and I can use a quarter or a coin to hold the head of this and undo the wing nut if I want to change the paper out. But basically this is a very simple and elegant little note-taking device, and it gives me about a 5-inch long little piece of paper to write in. And then of course you pull it off and tear it off, and when you're done. So this is the notepad holder. This is Joe Van Cleve, and these are Confessions of an Office Supply Junkie.